Hello everybody, it's Rebecca, and I'm here with the Magical Readathon TBR. So, of course I have my wand, because it's a Harry Potter themed readathon, so like, duh. Of course I have my wand. I did the owls like 2 years ago, I think, the first time they did them. This is one of my favorite readathons that there is. It's really cool. It's very in-depth. So thank you to the Book Roast for coming up with this, because this is amazing. I will leave information down below for you so that you can have it all and see it all. But it's really cool. It's the coolest readathon for Harry Potter fans, or not for Harry Potter fans either, but especially for Harry Potter fans. It's so cool. So anyway, I saw it and was actually like on time this year, so I'm obviously participating, and I even made a TBR, and like that's not something I do. I don't make TBRs because I just read whatever book comes from the library next that has a long wait, or like whatever's sitting on my shelf that like I should be reading, and I don't know. I'm very much a mood reader, or like a what's available reader, or like there's a fire under my butt, I gotta read it reader. So I have a TBR. Will I stick to it? Don't know. Don't know, but I'm gonna try. At least have tentative plans for all 12 prompts. Will I get through all 12? Again, don't know that either. Let's get into the TBR. So I'm not listing all of the prompt question pieces because they're long, but I will give you like the course and then the basic prompt and then the book that I'm maybe going to read for it. And we're just doing alphabetical order, and then I'll tell you what careers I'm potentially going for. So let's jump in, shall we? So first up was Ancient Runes, and this is a book with a heart in the title or on the cover. So I'm gonna go with Steelheart by Brandon Sanderson. I've had it on my shelf for a long time. I like wrote a superhero novel a couple years ago for Nano, and I was like, I should read Steelheart. And then I never did. I'm gonna do it now. Now is the time. Maybe. Next up is Arithmancy, and it's a book outside your favorite genre. I think my favorite genre is fantasy. I haven't actually read a lot of fantasy lately, but I think that's still my favorite genre. So anything outside of fantasy, I think technically counts. So I'm gonna go with Tweet Cute, because I have it from the library and it looks cute. There you go. It's a contemporary, which I sometimes like and sometimes don't like. And I didn't want to read horror or romance, which is my least favorite. So I went contemporary. Astronomy is a book that you've read the majority of it at night. So I'm gonna go Caraval. I read most books at night, so I really could have picked anyone, and that's one again that I have from the library and I want to read. I've heard good things about it. I've heard it's like Night Circus but YA. Not sure. I've also heard it's not that great, but I've heard it's amazing. I'm gonna judge for myself here, but that's probably the book that I'm gonna count for that challenge. For Care of Magical Creatures, it's a book with a creature with a beak on the cover. So I'm going Ink in the Blood. Also, I don't know any of these authors because I didn't write them down, but the books are here and I'll link them in the description below. I'm a terrible booktuber. Anyway, Ink in the Blood. It's like fantasy about like tattoos. I'm totally down. Also, I was supposed to get my second tattoo, guys, and it got canceled because of coronavirus, and I'm so sad, and I know that's totally first world problems, but like, I'm disappointed. What are you missing? What first world problem are you having right now? What thing are you missing that really doesn't matter? Because that's that, and like, you know, leaving the house. Like, yeah, anyway, moving on. Ink in the Blood, there's like a little bird in there somewhere. I'll zoom in or something. It'll work. For Charms, it's a book with a white cover. So I'm gonna read When You Ask Me Where I'm Going by Jasmine Kaur. Got it for Teacher Book Club, and then that got canceled. But I still have the book and I have to read it anyway. Well, I want to read it. This one. It's white and blue, but then it's also white again. So it totally counts. It's not that you wouldn't argue with me that it didn't count. Anyway, it's like a book of, I don't know if you guys know about this book though. I'll talk about it later, obviously when I read it, but like, it's like poetry, but it's also like not just poetry. There's like, hold on, there's like pictures and then like prose as well. So like, I'm very excited about this book. For Defense Against the Dark Arts, it's a book set at sea or on the coast. So I am reading Beach Read, which I got for Book of the Month. It hasn't come in yet, so I can't show you it. This one takes place on a beach. That counts, right? I think it takes place on a beach. It's called Beach Read. I think they're on vacation. It's 2 authors on vacation, and like neither one, they both have writer's blocks. They like switch, but it's also like a romance. Anyway, it sounded cute. It sounded like it was a romance that even I could enjoy. Anyway, it's at the beach. I had a hard time with this one, actually. Like, things at sea. Let me know good sea books. For divination, it's you give your TBR, like, you count them, and then it's like a random number generator thing. I ended up with Shadow and Bone by Leigh Bardugo, which is a reread for me, but I really want to, I've only read this one of the trilogy. I know. It's a problem. So I wanted to reread them because I know there's the show coming, and also I really loved the Six of Crows duology, and I just feel like I need to get into this trilogy again. So I've wanted to reread it for a while, and then it landed with this one. I was like, oh, perfect. So it is a reread, but it's one that I'm like really excited about rereading. Herbology is a book that starts with the letter M, so I have My Plain Jane, which that awkward teacher just read or just talked about. Starts with an M. I have it from the library. We're doing it. For History of Magic, it's a book featuring a witch or a wizard, so I'm going with The Near Witch by V.E. Schwab, who is one of my favorite authors. This was her debut novel, I believe, and I have never read it, and I own it, and that's a shame. I also could have done this one for a white cover or a beak. Hey guys, if I get like really stuck, I might just use this one for like 3. JK, I won't do that. That's cheating. But who cares? So I figured I would read this one. I don't really know if it, I mean, it's called The Near Witch. I think there's like a folklore, like a mythology about a witch. I don't know if the witch is actually a character or not, but I'm counting it. If not, it'll count for these other 2 that I may not get to. No, I will. One of them's a library book. I have to. For Muggle Studies, it's a contemporary, so I am reading Beartown by Fredrik Backman. This is another one that Molly over at That Awkward Teacher recommended and loved, and like everyone has read in the last month because of her recommendation. I bought it like a month or 2 ago and still haven't read it because I am terrible. So I thought that I would finally read it, and I'm buddy reading it. This is the first one I'm gonna read like right now. Like I'm starting it as soon as I finish these videos that I'm making today. So I'm very excited to read this one. It's not a romance, but it's contemporary. That still counts. Anyway, so yeah. I heard it's gonna make me cry. We'll see. It'll probably make me cry. For Potions, it's a book under 150 pages. So I also have Shades of Magic by V.E. Schwab, which is the graphic novel, the first edition, which I haven't read yet because I am terrible. So yes, so I'm going to read this one. And finally, it's Transfiguration, which is a book that deals with a shapeshifter or shapeshifting. This is probably the one that's the hardest for me. None of the books that I've come across have sounded like super interesting or like something I super want to read. So I have Clockwork Angel as an option. I don't know how I feel. I read the first 3 of the Mortal Instruments, and I didn't love them. So I don't know if I'm gonna love this or not. So please let me know if you think I'd still like Clockwork Angel if I didn't really like the Mortal Instruments. Let me know, because I'm not sure. There's also Animorphs, which I could reread if I could find a copy, because those are really fast and I love them as a kid, but also they're like, as an adult, they're pretty terrible. So I'm not sure. That's my like backup option. But if you have read Clockwork Angel or any other book that deals with shapeshifting that's like not a vampire or werewolf book, please let me know, because that's what I need. I'm struggling with this one. I'm struggling. I don't know. So let me know. Please let me know your options. I'd love your suggestions. Okay, so that's my potential TBR if I'm trying to hit all 12 courses, because like I read 12 books last month. I could do it again. Maybe. And also I'm an overachiever. So I also couldn't really decide on what career I wanted to go to. So I was gonna kind of just read what struck my fancy and then figured out like what career would go with that best based on the ones that I've kind of like chosen. I narrowed it down to like 7. But then from there I've narrowed it down to 2. The 2 that I'm like leaning towards are obviously a writer or the mage of visual arts, which is essentially like, it's like the people who make the moving pictures in the newspapers. I'm assuming it's kind of like this type of idea. Like people who make videos. stuff. There's also like Hogwarts professor, and that's like very close to home because I'm a teacher. Writer's like my dream job, and then I used to want to be a filmmaker, which is why these are the three that like are at the top. But then like a magizoologist would also be, or a magizoologist would be really cool. And so would like, you know, a graphic designer or like a bookseller or like a librarian. These are all like top choices for me. So we'll see based on what I read where I will fall. But those are the kind of the ones I'm thinking. That is it for the TBR. Let me know if, are you participating? What are you gonna read? What career are you going for? What courses are you gonna take? What is going on? What is happening? Please let me know in the comments below. How are you staying sane during quarantine? Let me know. And yeah, that is it for me today. I'll see you next time.